I'm Trev Woodison. I'm known as Trev the Pianoman, and we're here at the Plaistow Arms, yard down, right on the Devon Somerset border. It's about 7 miles north of South Malton. I'm one of the last fully authenticated East End pub pianists. I've been doing the thing since the late 70s and haven't really stopped. But instead of working in London now, I work the West Country, mainly Devon and Cornwall. It's great. It's one of the best feelings of the lot, because it's when you perform in a typical pub, you get the same appreciation that you would get given a concert, but the pressure, if you make the odd wrong note at a concert, it can be devastating. Where if you make a few slips as a pub pianist, it's a laugh. The pressure's not on you in the same way that it would be in a jazz or a classical performance. One of the things that makes me like it so much. There is a certain style of pub piano, and the way I could probably do that, it would be to show you in terms of the way that we play. We tend to play with a stride effect in the left hand, and we'll then tend to use a swing effect in the right hand. It's a pretty well known piece, you probably know it. Now we want to imagine if Mozart was a pub pianist, in which way would he have played that same piece? I think probably something like this. So it's the style of which you play, and it goes right back to probably about 1820, right up to the 1990s. But the genuine pub piano style will always have that feel to it, if you like. I started literally living across the road to a legendary pub pianist, a fellow called Dick Brodie, who had worked with the likes of Mrs. Mills and had worked with some fantastic people in the East End. And he got in touch asking me to teach his daughter. And in exchange for that, he taught me the pub piano techniques. I was about 14, 15 at the time. I'd done many of the grades going up through, learning the first 50, the first 100 songs, and you commit them to memory, and then you just add a few more at a time. You add 10 at a time, maybe 20 at a time when you're learning them, and you push up. And I'd done about my first 100, and the Dick turned around and he said, "Well," he said, "look," he said, "you've made a good start." He said, you do the odd evening," he said, "but you're going to get caught out a lot with 100. You've got to up your memory." So I said, "Well, how many do I need?" He said, "Well," he said, "minimum 1,000. With 1,000, he said, every other person that asks for something will catch you out." Since, the early 80s, I've just been adding more and more over the years, and it's gradually acquired. It got to 3,000 before COVID, and then I went from pretty much a full-time pub pianist to nothing. And I had 8-9 hours a day to kill, so I practiced and pushed that 3,000 figure up to about 4,200. It's now today about 4,003. Whenever you see me anywhere, this is the first thing I play. It goes something like this. If I'm, for instance, in the nursing homes and things like that, then the old wartime songs are very popular. Glenn Miller is very popular. Doris Day is very popular. In the pubs, if you've got an older clientele, it will tend to be more Buddy Holly, Beatles, that kind of material. More middle-aged people, you're going to get ABBA, loads of ABBA. And then the younger people, you're going to get more 80s sort of stuff. But some of the more memorable things I've done, I suppose, have been with some of the ABBA stuff I've had. Sometimes I've had people that have turned up, and if you've got a few ABBA fans in, they'll go berserk. They'll dance all over the place. Now, I know where I'm going to start, I know where I'm going to finish, but I don't know what else I'm playing, because the customers will come in, they'll make the requests, and they steer the evening. So often I'll turn up, I don't even know if I might be finished after an hour and a half, 2 hours. And sometimes here I've kicked off at 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. One evening, I think when did we finish? About 4:15, I think it was. So we really often don't know what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, and you have to run with it. So it's all very ad hoc, and you just have to run with what you're given.